It's Max, one of your hosts, along with Ocean, Kiari, and Bana. Unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties in the beginning, but if you will bear with us, we had started the conversation about Avatar The Last Airbender, specifically Zuko and why his father struck him in the face during the Agni Kai. I hope you guys enjoy, participate in the conversation. We would love to hear your thoughts, and thank you.
Lord or being the crown prince or one of the crown princes at the time, I don't think he could handle the public humiliation his son was bringing to him. So instead of reprimanding that hatred, he wanted to publicly humiliate Zuko for the rest of his life as well. Oh, that's why he chose to burn his face, leaving that memento of not just his like tarnished honor, but it's also sort of a petty, vindictive thing where it's like, you publicly humiliated me, now I'm going to forever humiliate you.
And that is like very Ozai-esque because we see like later it's always about having that grander stage, and I kind of touched on that where he can never allow anyone to kind of rise up to that similar level to him, which ties into why I think that he hit Zuko in the face. And I think it was that he actually, in some measure, was prepared to kill Zuko. And you had something to say about that.
Yeah, I brought up the fact that that was actually confirmed in comics. That after Iroh's son was killed in a battle, Ozai requested that his father give him the throne rather than his older brother. And so, as punishment for that transgression, Azulon told Iroh to kill his son, so he would know how it felt. And due to the fact that his mother, loved Zuko so much, she decided to instead make an odorless and tasteless poison for Ozai and killed Azulon, and was therefore banished for it. But another thing that I was going to bring up regarding that is the fact that when she left, is that she left a letter stating that Zuko was not Ozai's, but was rather her ex-boyfriend's, which was later in the comic revealed to be a lie that she did, so that he would not try to find her afterwards. But I think that kind of played into the fact of why he wanted to burn his face so much is because, he thought that it was not his DNA, and he's not worthy to be his son in any regards.
And we see that he has no regard for the standard of family when, as he is prepared to turn against his father, and he also obviously has no problem undermining his brother Iroh. He very obviously has no problem mortally wounding his son. And even the one child that he kind of respects, the one member of his family that he respects, because he obviously doesn't want to isolate himself. He wants to be ruler of this entire world, and so he clings to this singular family member that can rise to his kind of expectation. And even then, he can't stand to see her rise to that level. Zuko is a threat to that throne inevitably because he is the heir to Ozai. And even though he respects Azula much more than he cares about Zuko, he still can't stand to see her rise to a same level of respect and standard and honor as him. So he kind of overshadows that with this much grander stage of Phoenix King, and that means that when Azula does inevitably take that throne, she's not on his level still. Mm-hmm. And then I also wanted to talk about the Avatar movies.
So the Avatar movies that were picked up, I believe, by Paramount are two of them I'm very interested in seeing and how they're gonna go about. The last one, I'm not really too confident in, but if they go along with the comics that it could regard to, it could be a lot better than what I'm assuming is going to happen. But the first movie that's coming out that is supposed to start production this year, I believe, is an animated Kyoshi movie, which actually would love to see because Kyoshi is a very interesting avatar, especially her realization as the avatar was very complicated.
What did you say there was an avatar? No, was it you who said what avatar you wanted?
Sure it was Ocean, yeah.
Yeah, which avatar did you want to?
Oh,
Know more
so
about?
we went ahead and after the movie debrief, I made a point where it's like I would rather see past avatars more than futuristic ones because there's a lot of theoretical like avatar stories that we could do. One that myself and what on earth is your name? It'll come to me.
Kiari.
My name is very weird to pronounce.
Yeah.
I don't pronounce it the traditional Japanese way, so it is weird.
Kiari talked about is seeing Avatar Kana, the firebending avatar with no arms, who is theorized to be the first to develop the forbidden technique of combustion bending. But the one I personally want to see us get some lore on is the avatar after the first Avatar Wan, because Wan ended his life in a warring state,
Right.
and
It's even worse than
it's
Aang.
even worse than Aang's 100-year war, because people are still fighting between spirits and fresh territories. It's definitely a more like Mongolian style art scheme.
And we don't yet have. There's no method. That was something you had brought up. There was no method.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my question is like, with him being only the second avatar, or she, never actually confirmed, but at that point in time, what would be the way that they found out that they were the avatar, or like even that the fact that the avatar cycle was a thing? Like,
Yeah, how would
Like,
they have
how-
known that?
like did the avatar, due to the fact that they were only the second or the third or however many it takes, were they still able to actually sense the connection with Rava? Because in Korra, we don't see her or Aang even being able to connect with Rava until harmonic conversion, when she saw the memories of Wan.
And then that also like makes sense because when we see our current avatars, they're always calling upon like the more recent ones, like Aang with Roku, and then Kyoshi, and literally
and
in order. It like
Yeah.
it's like pulling back.
Yeah.
So we do kind of see that the more recent things are.
Yeah, like my theory regarding that is the fact that since they kind of have connections with all the consciousness and spirits of all the past avatars, is there so many that Rava's spirit and consciousness is kind of pushed down too far for
Didn't we get
them
a
to
visual
connect to?
representation of that the first time Aang hit his avatar state when they had the flashback of everybody lined up
Yeah.
for him?
Yeah.
How it went so far back
We-
that it didn't show the details of the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
just
kinda
showed
got-
silhouette and eyes.
Yep. Yeah, like that's pretty much where like I'm kind of drawing that from, especially like in Korra, we don't see them in a straight line, but just them in rows going all the way back, and it just becomes fog toward the back. And
Yeah,
you can't see nothing.
so many different avatar,
Mm-hmm.
and it was actually a topic I've seen covered before about like not all avatar are. Not to say that one would be evil, but they're not inherently good. Like they talk about it a lot about the water the water avatar that came previous to Aang, how he was a goofball of sorts. Like he wasn't evil by any measure,
No,
but he was irresponsible. And
He was more interested in his spiritual duties rather than being the avatar for the physical world.
and that does lead into how like
Yeah.
Yeah.
In which, you could also flip the coin itself and say that the next avatar, Kyoshi, was a bit neglectful of both.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, she did, deal a lot with the physical of the world, but mainly it was the Earth Kingdom.
That's what I was. Yeah,
Like-
she was very beneficial to the Earth Kingdom.
Yeah,
and didn't really have
she did not.
the other nations as much in mind.
Yeah, and there's no
And that doesn't necessarily make her a bad one either, because her conflicts were still within the Earth Kingdom as well. It's not like she was picking fights elsewhere.
Yeah,
unnecessarily.
It was the Earth Kingdom is the biggest continent base, so she had primary duties all over the Earth Kingdom. I believe I'm the only one here who's actually read the novels for Kyoshi.
Have you not
not the Kyoshi ones, no.
I have not.
But yeah, so she spent most of her time bouncing between great novels, by the way. I highly recommend anybody watching or listening reads them. Hopefully we'll get a camera soon, so you'll actually be able to watch. But
I hope not.
well, we'll clean up. Don't worry about it. But
Clean up the hair.
Yeah, clean up both physically
you some
and also.
makeup.
I'm a man made of pure potassium.
We'll
I do not
get
look good on camera.
we'll get Miss Ma'am. We'll get Miss Ma'am in here to do your makeup for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, at times the North and Southern Pole were fine. The air nomads were rolling as they did all across the world. The Fire Nation was starting to build up their industry so they could develop like a little bit stronger military, but they hadn't gotten to that point yet. They hit peak military manufacturing in around Sozin and Roku's era. So Kyoshi had really no other responsibilities other than the Earth Kingdom, which was consistently the only great nation at the time was Ba Sing Se.
Yeah.
Omashu was
There
in.
is no war in Ba Sing Se.
Yeah, there is
There's
no
no
war
war
in
in
Ba
Ba
Sing
Sing
Se.
Se.
Cap.
Major cap.
But Omashu hadn't been further developed, and the other primary countries were still like warring, which is why the general was able to come to power, much like Kuvira. Only difference is obviously Kyoshi is a very better like not diplomatic fighter, but more duelist than Korra was. And to be fair, Korra was in her own head most of the time when she was fighting.
Right.
She was very hot-headed throughout her time as the Avatar.
But it was definitely, as Mex E pointed out, she definitely focused majority on Earth Kingdom and the physical responsibilities of the Avatar rather than the spiritual ones. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a time and place for both.
But we can acknowledge that it does have like effects on the future.
Oh, most definitely.
Almost
100%.
100%.
The one... So, I guess I'll ask this question. If there is one thing you would want to see, and I'll give my example, for the next Avatar or a side story, what is one thing you would like to see? For me, I would really like to see, and this ties into the lore of the Water Tribe, I would like to see a swamp bender become an Avatar.
Yeah.
That
Now,
would be
see,
hard.
that I've actually seen someone talk about before, and it was like, so with the Avatar cycle, it being that every nation pretty much had like their own kind of cycle within it as well. Well, at least the Water Tribe and Air Nomads, because like every single time a new air Avatar, became an Avatar, it was always from a different temple in a cycle. Like Yang Chen was from, I believe, the Western?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Western, and then Aang was from a completely different one. And so the thing with that, in the Water Tribe, it was pretty much the same thing where it'd be the North then the South.
Well, yes, but it stipulates power. For those listening, Banana and I just changed seats. So,
You think they can hear what side of the microphone we're
well, I'm
on?
Yes,
saying if
actually.
my vocals pick up this side of the
No,
microphone.
actually,
They are.
they would be able to.
Yep. You're
Yeah.
good.
That's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mics are weird that way.
But anyway, it applies to two things in the water tribe. The first one is which tribe Abe went at the time of the Avatar being reborn has a full moon or a new moon. And if you are the tribe that has the full moon, you will have the Avatar. And if you have a new moon, you will just be a regular water tribe for that year. Because water bending is the only bending that's tied fully into the spirits being with the moon and the cosmos.
Yeah, especially due to the fact that the original water benders themselves were, in fact, the moon and ocean spirits.
Yep.
Whereas the other nations, they were just animals that were primarily found within them. Like for Earth Kingdom, it was the badger moles, and then the air bisons for the airbenders, and then dragons for firebenders.
Yep. But yeah, I would like to see how if a swamp bender became an avatar, because you could technically consider them, unlike Korra, who was just sort of spawns in with 3 elements.
Yep.
A swamp bender definitely could emerge with both earth and swamp bending,
Easily.
or water bending under the
Easily.
belt, because they're kind of tied together already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that would be something really cool to see in a future comic or a future show. So that was the question. If you could see something, what would you want to see?
Yeah.
Mine would probably be. Yeah, I've thought about it a lot. Probably lava bending. No, it's a tie between a sand bender.
There was 2 lava bending avatars that have been confirmed. There was obviously
Really?
Kyoshi, who used
Yeah.
lava bending to split off Kyoshi Island. But then there was one that was, I believe, actually a firebender.
He was a
shoot.
politician.
He was a politician. His
Really?
name was
Okay.
Garrett. You're
Then-
better at pronouncing names than I am. Ocean.
Avatar Seto.
Seto.
Seto. Okay.
Yep. And
Oh.
he preceded Yang Chen, and he lived an immense crisis within his lifetime in the Fire Nation, and he was mainly a bureaucrat and a diplomat, rather than, he mainly focused on the Fire Nation and trying to create economic stability rather than helping the rest of the world. But he was also the first Avatar confirmed to be able to use lava bending, as she's shown. And I believe it was a flashback sequence.
It was
in one.
It was when Roku
Yeah.
showed Aang the Avatar
Yeah,
shape for the
you
first
see
time.
him blowing up 3 volcanoes.
I actually do remember that.
Yeah.
Mine, then in that case, I'd want to see a sand bender.
Sandbender becoming
That
an
would
Avatar.
be a
That'd be
sand
cool.
bending avatar would be really cool. Especially since the only one who,
They're a super cool tribe of people.
Aang attempted to
No,
learn
they're
it,
not. They
but
took Appa.
They did take Appa.
No,
They did take Appa.
Yeah, but
they took
okay,
Appa.
yeah, they took Appa.
They took
But
Appa.
the elder seemed so against it when he found out.
Yes,
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
definitely against it.
His son made a foolish decision.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
I
was
feel
definitely
like-
mad about it.
I feel like that's less on the tribe as a whole and more on the leader of
Yeah.
that group.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So regarding a sand bending avatar,
We're only partially racist.
Aang, we're only partially racist. Yeah. So Aang did attempt to learn sand bending, but he wasn't able to grasp it.
That's why I would like to see
yeah.
a proficient sand
Yep.
bender.
Mm-hmm.
And especially because sand is what neutralizes undoubtedly the strongest earthbender that has ever existed. So,
Talk.
Yeah.
It just
yeah, she
and
just
she
makes
masters.
you dizzy.
Yeah.
which is funny because she was actually able to learn sand bending later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking about.
Yeah.
The
fact that she just
naturally.
Yeah,
Like-
she just cannot see due to the fact that sand does not pick up vibrations.
Yeah.
Well.
Which is all loose and fuzzy. Not that there's anything wrong with fuzzy.
Yeah, this Appa's.
Who is your favorite non-Aang gang character?
Oof. Not. Are we just talking about original Avatar, or are we also bringing in Korra?
I can already tell you what most of our viewers are
Original
going to immediately say their
Just
favorite
original Avatar?
Avatar character
Pyro.
is.
No.
Cabbage Guy.
Cabbage Man. Cabbage
Takes the
Man.
cake, guaranteed. They're-
More than
No,
likely, yeah.
I think there's definitely going to be a second runner-up that's not even Iroh. It's definitely going to be Secret Tunnel.
Oh, God.
That's another good
That's a
one.
good, yeah. There's plenty of characters that I think a lot of people would probably say are their favorites.
I think non-Aang gang, like, he ends up becoming a little bit part of the Aang gang, but I've always been a huge fan of the Duke.
Oh, the Duke, yeah.
I love
the Duke was always
I told you,
funny
it's
character.
the Duke. It's
Yeah.
like,
Always loved the Duke. And then there was also the Boulder who joined at
Boulder's
the end.
honestly
Boulder's
kinda funny.
so
The
good.
Boulder,
Oh.
the fact that they took a lot of inspiration from The Rock in
Yep.
his early days of wrestling,
From WWE.
always, I always found it hilarious. Yeah,
Boomy's a really good character.
Boomy as well. Yep.
A lot of my favorite characters come from the White Lotus.
so
Swordsman, Paku, Iroh, of course.
Jong.
John.
Gotta love Jong.
I do really like Zhang.
Now,
I think he's a little bit.
P and Dow, by the way.
Pian
This is
yeah.
Pian
Thank you.
now I kind of have a bone to pick with the White Lotus. I mean, yes, they're all, especially in the Avatar series itself, they were all great masters to them. But what happened at the beginning of Korra? Why'd they drop the ball there? I doubt Aang's wish was for them to lock up the Avatar for 16 years in the South Pole and not let her travel. I get that the Red Lotus was trying to kill her, but they already had them locked up. Why worry about it at that
That's
point?
something where it's like an in-canon reason I can't give you, honestly. Like, it was just a writing narrative that they wanted. I understand taking the Avatar that just came from a war-torn, like, era and training her properly, but I'm with you. After she was properly trained, they should have sent her on her way. Could, like, let her actually develop.
I can play
experience.
devil's advocate and kind of try and argue for a reason, and I think a big story of Avatar, like a big theme, is that civilizations fall, like things regress. You know, like nothing has permanence. We see. The most evident one is the Fire Nation. In the original, it used to be a very obviously beloved nation, and it even says so in the beginning. All nations lived in harmony, and we see a lot of in Roku's generation. There's a lot of peace and intermingling there, and we see with like the water tribe of Katara and Sokka that you know a once much more powerful tribe falls because of the natural occurrences of the world. You know, the Fire Nation coming at them and neutralizing them. We see Aang City, you know, once the pinnacle of peace and idealization become kind of a battleground for the Avatar, and I think it kind of is a theme that the White Lotus, once the most wise and most honorable, kind of lose their way and do something not wise and not honorable. I think it is just a theme of Avatar that things have no permanence, not even the White Lotus. That's just trying to reason for the show.
Yeah, no,
That's a fair point.
that's a fair point. The only thing I would say is the fact that, like, when Korra runs away, you see, like, she has absolutely no real world experience, and she is just baffled by Republic City because, like, in the South Pole, yeah, I think the only, like, automation that you can really see is the fact that they have snowmobiles, and that's it. She's never seen
They've
a
got
car.
construction crews or
Yeah.
construction material because
Yeah.
for anyone who hasn't read the Aang comics, South Pole strikes a big finding oil. That ends up becoming their big economic thing that helps take their tribe and expand it
Mhm.
back to its primary power, maybe even a little bit better,
Mhm.
because they're now getting consistent in and export. So she's seen construction, she's seen metalworking, but she's never seen anything on par of Republic City,
No.
which is just
Like,
wild to me.
Yeah, like, it doesn't even seem like she's ever heard the radio. Like, because when she first got to Republic City, she was hearing, like, stuff on the radio, and she seemed so baffled, in my opinion. And the fact that everyone was dressed so differently than like, a traditional, like, outfit, like, you would see in the Water Tribe at that point. And so,
Mhm.
the fact that she was a shut-in, I don't think was beneficial.
Yeah.
Because to be a good Avatar, I think you need,
World experience.
yeah, world experience and at least an idea of how the current.
And I think
Like,
that lent. I
yeah.
think that lent itself to Aang, and the
Yeah.
fact that he had explored quite a bit and had a lot of
Mhm.
friends.
Yeah, like,
from-
yeah. When he was, an actual 12-year-old before he got locked in ice. He is 112. He's not a kid, technically.
But even before that, like,
Yeah.
as an air nomad,
He
before
was-
he got his tattoos, he was visiting
Yeah,
Bumi in the Earth Kingdom,
Yep.
Kuzan in the Fire
In the Fire
Nation,
Yeah.
Akami in the Water Tribe.
Yeah.
Like, he was visiting these places.
Yeah, he had plenty of friends around the world because the air nomads, they were just that, nomads. They traveled between each temple, even though they weren't born at those temples. They would go and visit, and they would talk with other nations and stuff. So, I don't understand the benefit of locking her up after the Red Lotus was already put in prison.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see the benefit.
R.I.P. Sokka.
R.I.P. Sokka. Sokka was... Oof.
And he takes Banana Man.
Admittedly, y'all are touching on a lot of stuff I have to dig real deep in my mind for. By the time I recognize what y'all are talking about, y'all have all continued on answering the questions.
That's fair.
I will say the conversation has moved quite quickly.
Yes.
I don't...
Which is I kind of like it.
It's how
Yeah.
usually
I'm
our
sorry that we
conversations
haven't
go.
given you a chance to breathe. You're suffocating over here.
Nah, I'm enjoying the environment. I will strike in a point, and admittedly, the only time I've actually wanted to speak of was what we wanted next in the airbending series. Y'all were talking about what airbender you want next? Nah, I want us to take an arc split. Like, I'm gonna be the person to come out and say I want them to bring a new era of it, like, airbender wannabes that just wipe out a whole portion of the game.
Yeah.
A whole new war, a whole new...
Kind of like a
Just-
Uno reverse card.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Uno
okay.
reverse on the Fire Nation. that'd be-
Realistically,
Yeah.
if they were able to study Guru Lahima's teachings in
Yeah,
Develop
right,
Fight,
right.
and then
Yeah.
Avatar Yang Chin's all air
Philosophy on
vacuum,
just
like, it's air supremacy in a couple of weeks.
the fact that Yang Chen, when Aang was on the Lion Turtle, didn't even tell him a story. Just literally told him, kill him. I'm sitting here like, as an air nomad, you'd expect at least a little bit of restraint, but nope,
like
just instant
just a
kill
little
him.
bit of reverency.
Yep.
Yeah.
The other three, they told, like, we chose this and this happened, and she didn't even give no story, just instant kill him. Wipe him
Yeah.
out. This is, was not expected in that, at that time. Especially when we were like, what, like,
Aang was worried about Kyoshi's wisdom and found out another air nomad was even worse. And
Yeah,
he's
just
like,
instant.
I don't know how to process this. And
I
Yeah.
do kind of want to see an avatar that's more irreverent than even Kiyoshi or Yang Chen. One that just has like very, little regard. Almost kind of like kind of like a sociopathic avatar. One that just like one that's just
absolutely nuts,
incapable,
unhinged.
not like unhinged.
Oh, I want to see
Just
an unhinged
disconnected. You know what I mean? Like just
Mm.
can't really really understand the connections between people. Just like genuinely sociopathic. Like they just don't get it. They
Out
don't
here.
really show emotion.
He's out here looking for a Kratos avatar.
Yeah,
There you go.
That would
pretty
be
much,
that'd be
just
nuts.
a really irreverent.
Yeah.
Where maybe they are very wasteful of life in the beginning of their. Maybe they're even like a fucking murderer, bro.
Like, admittedly,
Yeah.
when I truly think about it, it's an idea that goes completely against what Avatar is as a show.
Yeah.
And generally
It
influence.
is. That
True.
In my
obviously.
opinion, I don't think that would be the main universe of Avatar.
That's why I kind of split our
here's the
I would definitely see that being like
Here
a
would be
different
the cool
world.
thing. Here would be the cool thing about that.
Mhm.
Tying in both points. Let's say it is a Kratos avatar who comes from the Air Nation, and he reads the ancient histories about how the Air Nomads were wiped out, and he wants to just say, "Let me get even." What we get to see then is if the White Lotus is still around, they'll probably take the forefront in countering the Avatar. But we get to see elemental development past probably lava bending, metal bending. I'm going to call it, for Legend of Korra, electricity bending because it's way faster than lightning bending. But we get to see we get to see how basic benders try to adapt to a raging avatar, a war like running avatar with their own types of bending. You could see combo bending, sort of like the wolf bats in the fighting did against Korra during the tournament, where they crumpled rock into water, so for faster rock shots. That would be very cool to see. Would it go against the basic rules of Avatar? Most definitely.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about what Korra does lead into is this Avatar might be not an evil Avatar, but Rava and Vatu did say they sort of cycle into each other. So you can keep the spiritual element of Vatu's just pulling on this Avatar a little bit more now that the Dark Avatar has been sort of canonized, I'd say.
Yeah.
Before we continue more in this conversation, something just popped to mind. This is probably how the people at Netflix come up with the live action ideas. That ruin shows that people complain about.
Yeah.
We are the show.
None of us have seen the live action Avatar series yet, have we?
I have
No.
not.
No.
But
So,
here's the difference.
We're not gonna comment.
We've
too much on
actually read and watched the
that.
material.
Yeah. We're not gonna comment too much on the live action series because none of us have actually seen it. But from like stuff that we've heard about it, we can kind of give a bit reference.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have not been given good reviews.
Yeah.
No, they killed Momo. I don't want to hear.
They killed Momo.
They
What?
killed Momo in the
What
final
do you mean?
episode.
I didn't hear
What?
that. What?
I'm not
That
kidding.
I don't think I'm gonna watch it now, especially since it was confirmed that Toph's not gonna have her like humor. I'm sitting here
Or
like,
be blind.
yeah, or she's not even gonna be blind.
She's not even gonna
What's
be
the
blind.
point of having her? Like, okay.
She's still gonna keep the whole "I'm a rich
Yeah,
girl that
yeah.
people want to coddle" mentality.
Yeah.
But they're gonna cut out her like humor, but they're also gonna cut out her like struggle because they think it's too much like disrespect to disabilities.
Did
Okay.
you completely
Dumb.
change one of the male characters too?
Yeah, they
And it ruined
Sokka
Sokka,
is
that's who it was.
completely. He's no longer sexist, which fine, I guess.
I
But,
will
like-
play devil's advocate with that. I
I'll
think
happily do it
that
A lot of people
Go for
like to play devil's advocate.
Yeah, no,
when it
like
comes to
I
I
just
get
think
why
that-
they did it, but in my opinion,
yeah,
that
no,
was a major
obviously.
part of his growth through the series. From
Yeah,
like,
you have to appeal.
Yeah.
You have to appeal for branding and
Yeah.
whatnot and everything.
I
and
get it,
that.
but like,
But yeah, becoming less sexist and understanding and becoming more of like what society would recognize as a good person is a big part of Sokka's entire character arc and him becoming like the leader that he's looked up to becoming with his father.
yeah,
So to remove that almost makes him just kind of a gag character.
yeah, especially since he doesn't even have his humor now. Like, so he's not even a gag character.
He's not. No,
So like,
he's-
is the
he's
show
in-
just super serious?
serious?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
he's an everyman fill-in, so
Yeah.
everyone can put themselves in with Sokka.
Yeah.
and
Pretty. The meme that I keep seeing the most is the fact that the live action series that came out on Netflix is the play within the series.
Yeah.
The players. I don't remember.
Play from the Fire Nation.
Yeah,
yeah,
Fire
I've
Nation
seen
play.
that.
Like,
He goes pretty good.
yeah, I mean, like, the actor who's playing the live action Sokka, for some reason, looks a lot more like the guy who played him in that play than the actual Sokka, which I find hysterical.
Yeah, I mean, I think they did okay with the casting.
Mhm.
I don't have any major complaints about anybody, really.
The only one that I keep seeing like people having complaints about is the actress who plays May. Again, I haven't seen it, so I'm not gonna comment too much on it. But the fact that she doesn't resemble too much of May is what a lot of people have been like complaining about. Which I get. She doesn't really look like May.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, I think that they're trying to figure out how to make them look the correct age that they're supposed to be. Like, if I'm not mistaken, like, Zuko and May, I think, are only like 16 in the series.
Yeah, like 16
Roughly.
and
16, 17-ish, yeah. So I get it, but I think the actress is even younger than that, which is what I'm confused. Well, at least she looks younger than 16. So I'm kind of confused on why they're trying to aim for them all being closer to the same age as each other rather than their actual comic, like, show counterparts.
It's to counteract. I actually can answer this because they did the same thing. They're doing the same thing for One Piece. It's to counteract how long it takes to film a live action. So they grow in as the characters.
Yeah.
And they grow up as the characters actually grow up.
Which I get, but the fact that they're also making the live action series not play out through an entire year does that by itself. Like, I don't know why you'd have to cast younger than what the character is if you're going to stretch out the story between years rather than just a year. Like, it doesn't.
That is fair.
You know,
that is fair.
Like,
but
they're
then
writing
again,
the story in that way, so what's the point on changing the actors to be that? It doesn't make sense to me.
I'd say just in case something happens with like the actors like coming into puberty and stuff like that, they may end up having some major changes that could change them.
I do kind of want to side with Garrett on this one because if you look at God of War, Artreus's mocap actor and voice actor has exactly that, and it's used immaculately in the game. Where in the first, when they record the first one in 16 and 17, and then it came out in 2018 or something like that, he's looks very young because he as an actor was very young. And then by the time 2023, right? Yeah, 2023 rolls around and God of War Ragnarok is released, he's grown so much, and so they're able to grow his character that much, and they aren't restricted by the fact that this young actor still looks like a young actor. And then that plays into the story aspect of the character changing a lot.
Yep.
So I mean, if they're trying to play a long game where they want, what are we talking about, May?
Yeah, we're talking about May.
Okay. Where they want May to have some significant change.
Okay, I guess I was wrong. I just looked it up. She is, like, in the series, she actually is 15.
Oh, okay.
So I guess
okay.
maybe I'm wrong by saying this, but I'm not entirely sure because, again, I don't know the actress's age.
You can look it up if you want.
Yeah, so I am going to look it up. But, like, again, I just...
Knowledge is key. You have the world at your fingertips.
Maybe it was just, like, a bad set photo that I looked at.
I have
And, like,
wisdom to use
you know, which does happen. Like, bad set photos can make a actress look a lot different than what they actually look like in real life.
100%.
Like,
And if
it's happened plenty of times.
Since May is 15, it doesn't help that. I mean, it's possibly just the fact that May is tall, but she does tend to look
She is very tall.
rather
Yeah.
older than the rest of them.
Yeah.
Pretty sure she's taller than Zuko.
No, I think
No,
she
she's,
might be. I'm not entirely sure.
not in the show, the actual cartoon. She's not, because the final episode she puts him straight in the chest. Don't you ever break up with me again?
Yeah.
And her head was like to his chest.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so
You're right.
I can't find the actual age of the actress anywhere, so I'm gonna assume that she's around in her teens at somewhere early teens.
I'd say that's a safe bet. That way she can grow into it.
Okay, yeah. So I just found it on her IMDb, finally. She was born in 2006, so she's about, what, 15?
Same year as
17?
my sister, so somewhere around 17 right now, yeah.
Yeah, 17-ish. So, yeah, maybe, okay, I guess the actress is a little bit older than her series counterpart, which is fine.
That's fine.
But again, set photos can negate stuff, and like especially appearance-wise when it comes to actresses and actors. But looking at her IMDb, I guess she does look a bit better than the set photo that I've seen, and more closely toward May in the series. So I might be incorrect in saying what I did.
Okay. Fair enough.
But you know, we'll see what happens with other people.
It depends on it. If I'm not even sure I'm gonna watch it. How many episodes is the live action?
Oof, I don't know.
8.
No, 8's not bad. I might watch it.
I'm once I re-get Netflix, I'll probably watch it.
I have so many other things
I
to
have
watch.
it. We can watch it as a household, I guess. But
I'm not gonna sit there and watch it. Sorry.
he's out. But I might.
Eh.
Me and Garrett might. Me and Ocean. I keep saying it.
That's fine.
I keep saying it. I'm probably still gonna continue to say it.
It
So
happens.
I slip a
We'll
lot.
fix it over time.
I'm not
Mhm.
worried about it.
But maybe we'll watch it.
Alright.
We'll see.
Is that it for the anime talk? Do we want to switch talking points or?
I was curious about one thing.
Yeah,
Go for it.
If we wanted to, real quick, what would your bending be?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, are we just talking regular bending, or are we also going to include special bendings?
If you feel
Let's not go crazy. let's not
if
go.
you feel
Let's not go unfeasible like banana bending or.
No. Like obviously,
What a call out from across the table.
really get
No,
you
I
to
mean,
speak
like-
somehow.
each bending has like their almost every bending has their own
Exactly.
specific like additionals. Like airbending, I guess you
Do
could
you want me to
include
go into
flying. I
Oh,
guess.
okay, I got this.
But like I'm not entirely sure what additional bendings.
So, do you want me to go into the every bending, for those who don't know, has a forbidden bending as well as
Some subsets.
A subset bending
Yeah.
that you can learn with training. So, just to tie into airbending, airbending has the subset bending of flight. I don't want to count spirit projection because that's
More of a spiritual
individual type of person, but
Yeah.
flight is definitely one. The subset to that is vacuum bending, where you pull all of the air into a pod. It's the Yang Chen ability, or the shout out to the boy Gyatso ability, if you believe in that. Or who's the leader of the Red Lotus?
I literally just kept seeing
just.
Zahir.
Zahir. Yep.
That is the forbidden bending for air bending.
Mm-hmm.
Earth bending's forbidden bending is
I believe. Ooh, I don't know what its forbidden bending is.
earth bending.
Yeah.
It's immortality.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, right, because
You bend the
Kyoshi
metals.
was able
Yep.
to.
You bend the metals in your body to stagnate your cells.
Mhm.
The problem is you have to consistently start bending them, otherwise you rapidly age because it fast tracks you. Ooh, that's the reason why people will say Kyoshi lived as long as she did, despite only being human. And earthbending immortality was canonized last year or 2 years ago in one of their posts. The primary subbending, which you can obviously add sand bending, lava bending, metal bending, but the primary bending that is in subbending for Earth is seismic sense. Any person can learn seismic sense. Any earthbender can learn seismic sense with enough training. It's steeped core in the earthbending philosophy. Water bending is the easiest one. It is water cycle manipulation, so turning water to steam or ice. It's because that gives off both air bending as well as earth bending traits. Forbidden is blood bending.
Obviously.
Fire bending.
What you forgot one more for water bending subset is also healing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, healing
There's
as
also
well.
healing.
Healing as well.
Yep.
Fire bending's subset is lightning bending, which is developed into electricity bending, which I still think there is two, because lightning bending has a major wind up, and electricity bending is a quick pop off technique, which has less potency if you just compare shots. The forbidden technique is combustion bending. The reason why is because combustion bending focals heat trails from the mind all the way down, and for any disruption of the head, the heat trail only fumes around the head rather in a straight line, so it ends up killing the user.
Yeah.
most of the
Hence,
time.
in the original Avatar, Combustion Man, because we don't actually get a name. The fact that the boomerang hitting him in the head caused him to blow himself up, as well as,
Faye from the White Lotus,
getting
her head sealed.
Which one was it? It was one of Toph's kids, but
One
I
of
can't-
Dolph's
I
kids.
don't remember which one did it. She put an entire metal sheet around her head, causing obviously her head to blow off.
Popped off.
Yeah, it popped. She popped off.
Which,
Ta-da-da-da.
admittedly, I've heard a lot of clips about that exact scene. Is that happening was actually a complete accident.
It might have been.
It may have been.
Who knows?
I know.
Toph was, I'd say, the most prone to violent out of the Aang gang at times. So it would make sense that her daughters would. Well, okay, I would say for like the majority of the time, Zuko obviously didn't join until like midway through Fire. So, I would say through.
If you're counting his past, Zuko.
No,
Zuko-
even after that, he baits into Azula's.
Yeah, no, I would definitely say. Well,
I'm
yeah.
saying it's Zuko.
Yeah, well, after Zuko joins, yes, but prior to him joining, it was definitely
Okay.
Toph.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Toph was the one that was like, let's fight, let's do something stupid.
Sure.
Like she
Let's
was
go
the
crazy.
one.
Let's go
She's-
prank an entire fire-bending town with my earth-bending.
Yeah,
and
let's-
figure out and let
yeah, let's
them realize
con-
I'm an earth-bending.
Yeah, let's con a bunch of people into giving us money.
She is
Like she's
what I would call an instigator.
definitely an instigator. So and you see that with her second daughter a lot when she was like younger, and her joining the triple threat triad and all that stuff. So I'd see a little bit of their violent tendencies, especially even with her first daughter. You see it a lot in the fact that she admits to destroying Air Temple Island after she was dumped.
After
Tenzin broke up with her.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here like, yeah,
Which is-
I could see your Toph's kid like instantly right there.
Which is such a cool comparison between the hot Lee and the hot-headed Korra.
Yeah.
Where Korra had enough maturity just to kick a desk, but Lee, who was a much older woman when they broke up, or they're roughly the same age, if not a little bit older.
I don't think the age was actually given, but I'd say late teens, maybe early 20s.
Late
around
teens, early
there.
20s, still roughly the same maturity, completely decimates a national treasure island.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Just
shout out to
destroys.
the Bayfong.
Just destroys Aang's pride achievement practically. I'm sitting here like, ooh.
Yep. But back to the question at hand.
Which
what-
bending we would all be?
Yeah.
What is
Yes,
our preference
let's go.
bending? And with those caveats, if you choose to have a forbidden bending,
Yeah.
go for it. Or if you want to have a specialist bending, I say the only caveat is you can't have both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No forbidden end. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I will take the lead because it's the most common one I talk about the entire time. I'm definitely taking water bending, and I will take only the subsets of the water cycle manipulation because while healing is fantastic and I would love to learn healing, it is something where it is a type of bending where you have to be stagnant, and I don't like that. If there's a way to heal myself while I'm bending in a fight, I'd happily take it, but versatility of creating mist or smoke, solidifying myself around ice for defense. Like, I can like consistently pull water out of air to help rehydrate myself. Like, I'll take the water cycle bending with water bending all day long. No issues. And blood bending is cool, but I am not going to train myself on nights of a full moon and then test my... The biggest thing is, I don't mind testing blood bending on people. I won't do it on animals, though.
No,
but that's the first step. You need to go from animals because
Yeah.
they're a little bit more, like, easier to manipulate with blood bending than people are. I'm not going to test blood bending on animals. I'm an animal lover through and through.
Let's go next.
I can go next. I would want to be an earthbender with the metal bending. Yeah, I think I would probably prefer metal bending. I was thinking about also maybe sand. But I think I'd probably prefer metal bending. That's because stone doesn't always hold up to its match, but metal pretty much will.
Cool thing about it is if you were to able to do both metal bending and sand bending, you could end up becoming more Kazekage like with either magnetic sand or
That's what I
gold
was kind
dust
of
or stuff
thinking.
like that. That'd be pretty. See, that's the thing I'm talking about, like elements fusing.
Exactly.
That's,
Yeah.
Alright, we've got Banana Man and Keanu. What?
The Banana Man should be an obvious choice. I gotta recreate Star Wars, brother. I'm getting that electricity.
Oh god.
So
The
he'll
firebender
be a
with the
firebender with
electricity
electricity
subset.
bending. Yep.
I
That
would
makes
recreate the Sith and get y'all to team up against me every day of the week.
True.
That's fair, honestly.
I'll run defense. Boys.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to swing close toward Mexi and also pick Earthbending, but I don't think
Damn,
I'd be.
airbending is out here getting no love.
Airbending-
Anyway, continue.
I don't
Love is
think.
being aired out. What you mean?
Aha! The puns. Anyway, I don't think I'd be a good enough Earthbender to be able to sense the metal with like the earth within metal and all that stuff. So I definitely think I'd probably lean more toward like Bolin, where I am more proficient in lava bending than metal bending. Because I'm kind of hot-headed, no matter what. So I definitely think I'd be able to have the ability to melt earth down to magma and be able to manipulate it.
yeah, it's theoretically the most destructive of all bending.
Oh yeah,
anyway.
it definitely is.
Because, like, and obviously you could debate that however you want, but the primary thing is, if you look at the perfect example is the wall of bossing, say. For a normal earthbender, it took 7, if I remember correctly, dialing agents to bring down the wall to let
And
the fire
those are
nation leave.
elite. Those are elite earthbenders.
Those are elite earthbenders. If you look at fire, like obviously air never attacked the wall of bossing, say water never did it, so we don't have any examples of those. Firebenders, it took either a couple thousand firebending troops or one fireball from a grandmaster amped by Sozin's Comet.
Amped by Sozin's Comet.
And then you get to Gazan, the first ever lava bender, and he did it with one lava bending technique. He took down the wall.
Yep.
So lava bending is, like, if you say lava bending is the most destructive, yeah, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Like, it
Definitely
completely destroyed a temple,
Yep.
the wall of boxing, say, and it shut down most of the team Avatar during their first couple of fights against him.
Yep.
Because
Because Bolin didn't figure it out for quite a long time.
yeah,
I think it took him half that season to be able to figure out that he was able to do it. He tried metal bending first, could not figure it out.
Yep.
And then later on, it was a fight with Gazan that I think they were in a tunnel or something.
it was them trying to escape the Eastern Air Temple.
Yeah. And they were going through a tunnel, and he was able to push back the lava.
Mhm.
So, lava bending, I think it would take a little bit for me to figure out.
Most
But I think I'd definitely be able to get it.
Yeah.
Um,
Worst comes to worst, we take you to Hawaii and throw you in Honolulu. You'll be fine.
yeah, well, I'll jump in a volcano, I guess.
All right, with that, we can switch over topics. That was pretty much 1 hour of Avatar, so
Perfectly
Wow.
fine.
we
Love
can do that
Avatar stuff.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you have anything in mind, or because I had some?
I have a list, so you can.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, we can just start with one, and then my question is, out of the five topics from the title, so Marvel, animation, DC, Xbox, and then PlayStation or PC. Which one is your most passion, and what got you into that passion?
I think you can go first.
I
This
can
is
easily
probably
go
the
first.
topic that you can speak on most. Text me what the acronym is.
So,
ADHD and I'm struggling.
yeah. So, for me, the topic out of our title that I'm most passionate for is definitely DC Comics, because that was the pretty much the first thing of fiction that I was ever introduced to. Like, I watched the original Christopher Reeve Superman before I watched anything that was related to anime. Obviously I watched a lot of cartoons, but I didn't really click with a lot of things until I watched Superman. Like, he was the very first superhero I was introduced to. It was something that I connected with my dad with, and so I have a lot of emotional connection with DC Comics in whole, because it not only was it something I did with my dad, it was something that me and my cousins were able to connect with, me and my brother. So it just has a lot of fond memories around it for me. So definitely DC Comics for me.
And then within DC Comics, which of those heroes and villains are probably your most known expertise?
Oh, easily Superman. Superman is the thing, as I just said, it's the thing that I connected with first. It was what got me into comics and into superheroes. But I think, obviously that would answer the superhero one, but I think when it comes to villains, I don't really have one that I'm deeply as well versed with as I am Superman. Like, you can ask me almost any question about Superman and I probably know the answer. Whereas for a lot of villains, I don't have that much memorized. But I would say the one that I have probably the most knowledge on would probably be the Joker.
I figured
Yeah,
Yeah.
villain-wise.
I
one of these podcasts we'll get him to laugh, and he sounds exactly like
if they're able to get me
Joker's
to
laugh.
do my actual laugh instead of one of my fake hidden laughs, you'll understand why. I literally did it this morning, and I sound exactly like the Joker when he laughs. Specifically Mark Hamill, and it's terrifying at times.
Now,
Fantastic.
would you like to speak next on which of the four?
I can personally.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter, or either way. So for me, the letter I'm going with is A, animation. For reasons that I was a very independent, like my family was constantly going out for sporting events and I didn't really care for them, so I was at home. I watched a lot of animated movies, but when it got super late and Adult Swim started kicking on, I started watching more and more anime. And I am not the type of person who like sticks to a specific genre. I'll watch almost anything and everything as long as it's recommended or the plot seems to intrigue me. But the number one anime that got me into like deep diving was an older anime that is known as Samurai Champloo. The choreography and the story and the soundtrack, just as a younger kid, just blew me away. And after that, I started watching, like, whether it was on weekdays or weekends, up late at night, I was watching literally any type of anime I could find, from Inuyasha to Naruto to Bleach to Cowboy Bebop to Trigun. And from that day on, manga and Danhwa or Korean manga or anime, anything that comes to mind or pops in on the anime or like animation field that I enjoy, I will watch and I will happily give micro reviews on, or major reviews to anybody who listens. But yeah, I'm probably the most well versed when it comes to anime and manga here. So yeah, I will be bringing up most of the like information when it comes to stuff like that, while Mexi tends to get more into philosophy or literary writing because he's a writer, and Kiari is a master of film and scripts, and Banana is just the wild card that we love having with us. He's also a legendary gamer. He's been playing a phone game the entire time of the podcast.
You're just going to completely take control and not let the rest of us go ahead and describe ourselves, eh?
Yeah, go for it. I was just giving examples.
Would you like to go next, brother?
I'll not take it away, because mine's going to be the shortest of all of it.
That's
So, I kind of sent you something if you're interested in looking at it for a second. I kind of want to alter the name just a little bit. Wouldn't change the pronunciation. Would just kind of add a layer on top. That would allow me to kind of slip into my expertise just a little bit more.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I would personally think we could just keep one M and just caveat it as...
That's fair. Same thing.
But music, for those who are listening, he wanted to add music, and music applies to literally Marvel, animation, DC, Xbox, PlayStation, because everything has instrumentals, everything has soundtracks, so it does already add to it. But go ahead, sir, if you want to add the M, I don't really care.
So
as long as the other two are okay with it.
yeah, okay. That's fine with me.
there was prior I would have said PlayStation because there's a lot of titles over there that I do like to highlight on that obviously you can't get on Xbox, like The Last of Us or Bloodborne, Uncharted. A lot of those I do like to dive into the themes that those provide, and a lot of those you can't get on Xbox. But deeper than that, my expertise would lie within music. That's something that I'm very much passionate about, like something that's always occupying my time and my mind. And it ties in a lot to the philosophy that gets tied into shows. Music is very strong in portraying those kinds of emotions and leading you in the direction that any type of work, whether it is, like he mentioned, a video game, a show, or a game, or an anime, movie, anything of the sort. That music that's accompanying those, they're going to lead you in a direction. So I do think it's worth noting that I will be able to touch a lot on that musical basis, on the intentions of the musical scores tied to things. So of the topics portrayed, my expertise would lie in PlayStation, PC. However, the other big part of that would be music, which is going to be a big talking point tied into philosophy.
Yeah.
And then we're going to switch over to our banana boy, man, a few words.
Indeed, this wild card of the group has really no place amongst the group except for a small little dabble in Marvel, thanks to Kirai having been growing up with me my entire life.
Yep.
aside from that, the emotional neglect from my parents drove me into video games in general, so I can just dazzle on for days and hours on most console games.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely our Xbox and even our PlayStation connoisseur in house. A lot of those games I mentioned, he was the one who put me onto, like Bloodborne and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And
But admittedly, I will always be the one leading towards a more dark, realistic caveat to
You're
most
also,
things.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you're also like so good at just being willing to do new things and play new games and like you're just like I'm so resistant to like watch a new show and you'll just pick up anything. You will give like anything that first shot any game. Every time I walk into your room, you're playing an entirely different game that I've never heard of in my life.
Gotta try everything out there, dog.
Yeah, he drags us into new games and a lot of stuff.
Absolutely, like a lot of us wouldn't even be playing new games half the time if
Yeah.
it weren't for you. So
Yeah.
I do definitely consider you like the gamer connoisseur in house for sure.
I'll say that Ocean kind of does something similar, especially with anime. Like I'm very reluctant to start new animes. I have
Absolutely.
animes that I love that I just dive right back into when
I'm
I
the same
feel like sad or I just like want some nostalgia. But Ocean over here, he'll always recommend us new animes to watch, and I have such a long watch list because of all three of them. Like, it's the list on my phone. I think is like 30 anime long at the moment, and it's probably still gonna grow even longer. So, and that's the ones that I need to watch. Obviously, I have a longer list of ones that I have watched. I think the ones that I have watched is closer to like 120 or so right now. And obviously, I've been starting watching animes that they haven't even recommended to me as well. So,
Or at least do your best to get around to it.
yeah, I do at least tend to try. Like I've started a few anime that they've recommended and I paused them because I swear I have my own ADHD of some sort where I just start an anime, stop, and then start a different one without finishing the other one. So I'm like,
I do too. I have that same issue. Like I still haven't finished Free Run. I haven't finished Chainsaw Man. There's a ton.
Yeah.
Garrett has to kind of grind me into.
Yeah.
Like, no, I tell you, I promise you will like this.
Yeah. Ocean.
It's
like
it's funny. Ocean.
he's
Ocean
trying
has,
to
like,
push us down into it. Like get going.
It's
do
funny
it.
because Ocean, your specific favorite taste in anime is very opposite to what I would elect to watch on my own.
Yeah.
And yet, you know what I would like better than anyone else.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
It is hilarious. Especially since, like, me and Garrett, we both tend to love isekais more than almost anything.
You just called me by my name.
Yeah, you did it too. Like, you did
I
it too.
corrected myself too.
It's been happening so much during this podcast.
And it's
I don't
only
know why
us
it's
two.
only.
It's only you two, and it's only his
Only
name.
him.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Well, we call you Bana all the time. You're Bana in my phone. He's
Banana Man,
Mexi
Bana
on
Boy.
everything. I go by Kirai a lot, especially on my Discords. Like, even they call me that when we're in
It's
video
technically
chats and
even
calls. and stuff.
Oceanus.
Oceanus, yeah.
We can stick with Ocean.
Ocean. I do like
So,
Ocean. But yeah, now carrying on.
Yeah, me and Ocean, sorry, we tend to like isekais more than most genres of anime. Him a lot more than me. He's watched a lot more than me, so I will definitely say that. But there are a bunch that I love.
And it's not like he's reverent of the
No.
genre.
No.
He's aware of its flaws and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He just-
that'll probably be its own podcast.
Yeah, we can do an entire episode on like
on
what animes.
Garrett's taste.
Yeah, you just did it again.
That's the first swear word of the pod.
I can
Throw
literally
this over it.
go stream the stream needed before we go watch the movie.
Yeah, we do have about an hour and a half
It's
left.
not like I need to talk for the stream. This
That's
is
true.
the audio.
We just need the
Just
video.
need the over.
We just need video.
If that's the case, I'm gonna time it in advance before you start gaming. I'm gonna call it out right now because I'm the banana man. My bananas are delicious. Whatever game you're playing, no
Oh,
matter
gosh.
when, right this second, now you died.
No, I'm willing to bet he's died at least periodically throughout this.
But no, I would call it.
But
right
that
at
is a moment when I did.
One at well,
In that
like
exact
1:15.
second when I
He's
no,
gonna
it was
die.
It was 1:13:43.
Okay, so an hour and 13 minutes into his
Just
stream, he'll
before
die.
1:34
Okay.
or 1:14.
Yep.
Sorry.
So he'll die at 1:13
Yep.
in his stream. Okay.
If it doesn't happen,
I'd be shocked.
the bananas aren't ripe yet.
The bananas aren't ripe yet.
The trees,
Yep,
the
yep.
grass stem still needs to grow.
Yeah.
That's so funny. That is, you would sync it up like that,
Mhm.
wouldn't you?
So that was my primary talking point. Did you want to go over to yours next before we end?
Yeah.
I don't want to actually dive into the topic or anything.
Mhm.
I just wanted to bring it up to both you guys and the viewers for next time.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe not even next time, but one of these times.
Mhm.
I really want to take a deep dive into Cyberpunk, just because
Yeah,
Deep
most
dive is
definitely.
yeah, we could definitely
that's like
do
my
that.
favorite. So I guess I will pose a question.
Someone
before we
wants to
end
start
off.
simping again.
Shut up. I'm not gonna. It's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be a much more
Okay.
analytical approach.
Yeah.
So then I will pose the question: if each of us had an episode where you were the keynote speaker, obviously
Gosh.
everyone's attending all of these, but
TED Talk.
not everyone. But you know, if you were the keynote speaker for an episode, what would your topic be?
Oh,
Obviously,
for the
mine
entire-
would be cyberpunk.
Yeah. Oof. For me, I think it would have to be something related to DC Comics, maybe. Specifically, maybe even James Gunn's new DC universe itself.
Okay.
Other than that, I think a podcast I think we should definitely do an episode with is the fact that no matter what anime we watch, we always like create our own power systems.
Damn
Especially,
it.
oh, is that the one that you were gonna say? That was yours.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You
It
go
was,
ahead.
it was gonna
Lord.
do.
So yours is going to be the James
Yeah,
Gunn,
mine would definitely be the DC. Yours,
the
obviously,
James
would
Gunn
be-
DC universe.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn, man, you spoiled it. I had one of two. One of two for me is going to be how to revive the dying genre in anime known as isekai.
Mm.
Or the best and brightest of our own creativity when it comes to seeing anime and how we would live in the anime type, what we would want for powers or whatever. We do it on a regular basis. I tend to do it more than anybody else in the group.
I do it quite a bit as well.
But-
Not as often, but quite a bit.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's something we're also huge. Or some of us are bigger fans of D&D,
Mhm.
and some.
Yep.
I think all of us have at least played, so we do
Yeah.
have the imagination to
Yeah.
promote stuff like
Yeah,
this.
that's another thing. Like, I do plan on writing a D&D for us and a few other friends from where we live. Like, if that would be something that people on your channel as well as mine would like to actually hear us do, we can do a separate podcast for D&D as well. If that's something that you guys would like to listen to, it definitely will not be as good as Critical Role,
no,
but nothing can be as
But
good as Critical Role.
don't worry, we'll
There,
get there.
yeah, we'll get there.
Over time.
Yeah.
Over time.
Bana, is there one that you would like to be the keynote speaker on?
If you had to be
Yeah.
a keynote speaker for an episode, and it's not like you have to do the entire talking, but you know,
Yeah.
you have to lead the topic and be knowledgeable on
Yeah.
it.
You sound like you're wording it in a way that like you're assuming I didn't want to be the key speaker. Of a specific-
Yeah.
A little
Even
bit,
if
yeah.
he didn't want
All I
to
gotta
be
say
on
is,
track.
I'm feeling a little called out in that aspect here. Like,
let's be
just
fair.
because I'm this quiet doesn't
Yeah.
mean I
Let-
don't
Let's
want
be
to
fair,
here.
Mexi. Even if he like didn't want to do it, he would BS his way through it. Like, let's be fair.
And I'd probably make it in a way that y'all wouldn't know I had to BS at 30
Yeah,
minutes
I'm
before.
not-
like,
definitely,
wow,
yeah.
I'd be like, wow, Lucas, you really prepared that entire, and you were like, hell no.
You did it again. You called another person besides Ocean by their real name.
It's
And it
fun.
wasn't either of us. It was Bana. That is awesome. That's funny. That's the first time anyone else's name slipped except for Ocean's. And I find that hilarious.
Truthfully, I would probably have to pull more of an aspect of when it comes to like being the host of something. I want to do it in a way that someone else hasn't gone before. So I want to stick away from the usual tropes that deals with video games of oh, what would you do if you were in them? What would you create your own out of? Like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, it'll probably change in the future of what I actually want the topic to be, but having to think of one right now, probably... If you were put into a society basically identical to Bloodborne, Dark Souls, just that esque of, like, dystopian bullshit.
Dying right away. I'm dead.
I'd probably be dead.
But
as well.
Well, I mean, like,
but yeah, we can.
But yeah,
What
we having to
would-
do that.
I was like, what would your initial reaction be? How would you, like, want to, like, handle it to survive the longest? What would you think would work?
In a kind
That's
of
a really
tied,
good topic.
it is. In a kind of tied topic, I'd love to hear your take on the representation of, like, madness in games and, well, media in general, and like bad examples, good examples, and how you think those kinds of things. Because
Admittedly, that does
Bloodborne,
pique my interest.
in my
however,
opinion, Bloodborne would be like a really good example, unless you think I'm incorrect.
well, no. Admittedly, you are 100% on the right track. It's just, I feel when it comes to the topic of madness, insanity, like all that, when coming from me, it would be biased. Not only for the sheer factor that nothing's diagnosed, nothing's confirmed or denied, putting that out there. But even if anything was confirmed for me being mad, it wouldn't be broad enough to reference the displays that they bring to media.
That's fair, but even like in the aspect of like eldritch horror type kind of madness, where it's not quite so deep.
Valid.
What, like, even on just a surface level portrayal of those things. So
It'd definitely be a nice long talking point. That'd be for sure. I can expand on that
100%.
one.
it'd just be something I'd like to hear from you is all that. But yeah, that is just about. That is just about all she wrote.
Yeah.
So, I'll pass it over to Ocean. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for attending the channel.
Yeah. Do you two want to say anything?
Before you peace out.
I definitely think that this is going to be something that I don't know how often we're going to be able to do this podcast with all of our random schedules that we have.
I'd hope to say
Yeah.
maybe once a week.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
if we're
maybe.
lucky.
Admittedly, right now my schedule has been made so I have every Wednesday and Thursday off.
Yeah.
We're roommates. We can stay up till 1 a.m.
True.
Yeah,
We'll
we-
have one of these
yeah,
nights
we-
and
We'll
just do
figure
one.
it
It's
out.
not that bad.
Most of us do that anyway.
Yeah.
So, definitely be either at least bi-weekly, I'd say. Hopefully every week. But
So yeah, and we'll
we'll see.
probably like not like script, but organize those next podcasts
Yeah.
a little bit better so that,
yeah,
like I said, each episode will probably have a keynote speaker
Yeah.
and a topic to
Yeah.
dive on.
this
There was no
podcast
real keynote speaker, but I would say
No.
our topic today was probably Avatar.
Yeah, it definitely
Most
was
definitely.
Avatar, and as well as what we plan on doing
Yeah,
for
us.
this podcast,
Right.
obviously,
Just kind of
and
establishing the
Yeah.
baseline.
so because obviously this is just the pilot episode of the podcast. We'll have a better format.
Crazy title, pilot episode. Ha.
Well, no, well, that's essentially what it is. Obviously, we're not going to title it pilot, but like that's what it is. Especially since none of us actually created like bullet point talking points that we wanted to do. Well, Ocean kind of technically did. I did it again.
Yeah, Ocean, thank
You know
you.
what?
Thank you for kind of
Yeah,
putting us on track.
My pleasure.
yeah,
At the last second.
he definitely did it.
Definitely, we're not prepared to
The
do
rest
this.
of us
we
were
just already 45 minutes into a conversation
Yep.
and decided
Yeah. Hey,
we
this
were
is
on a perfect
Yeah.
roll.
we literally were just talking about the Avatar thing prior to doing this. And we're like, so when are we? This is why we should start a podcast. And I instantly just like, well, I have a good podcast, Mike. Let's do it. And so we set everything up. and we just ran into it head first, and so we had absolutely no time to prepare prior to it. Obviously, Ocean did a little bit before while me and Mexi were setting stuff up, so again, kudos for that. The fact that we keep saying each other's real names, I think we should just whoever
we'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get to it.
Trust the process.
I think if we do like a 1 a.m. thing, like he said, we should just have a punishment where you have to take a shot every single time you do it.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is, for some random reason, I would be the most sober.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you this entire time have not said any of our names incorrectly.
Well, I don't
Like
think he
you-
said names in general.
I said
No,
all
he-
3 of your names at least once.
He has.
No.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
said our names a few times, but it's
that.
me
I'm
and
online too
you.
much. I'm used to it.
It's gonna be. We'll have. I'll include a count in the corner of which one of us has taken the most shots, and it's probably gonna be either me
Oh,
or
it's definitely
Mexi.
me. What do you mean?
It's either gonna be
You
me
said
or
my name
Mexi.
more than you.
That's true.
Yeah, but you also screwed up
specifically
his.
fuck.
You screwed up his though.
I'll also have to have a shot for swear words.
For
'cause
curse
That's
counter?
my
Yeah,
fourth.
we'll have. I don't.
That's
think,
my fourth F.
we'll have a Krillin own count for that one.
Yeah, that's my.
Shots only for names. Krillin own count for cussing.
Anyway,
If you don't get that reference, DBZ abridged.
thank you for attending, Kira.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sitting in, Banana Man. Take it away, Ocean.
Of course. One final thank you to my co-stars for us finally agreeing to get this to go together and do it. And for anyone who is listening, no matter what you do in life, make sure you get some MADXP.